Χαίρετε κυρίες και κύριοι, είμαι ο Νεκτάριος Νότης και σας καλωσορίζω στο 24H TV. Μέσα σε αυτή την περίοδο που ακούγονται πάρα πολλά για την Ελλάδα, ακούγονται σενάρια επί σεναρίων για το ποιο είναι το μέλλον της χώρας και με αυτά τα σενάρια, όλες αυτές οι αναλύσεις, όλα αυτά τα οποία έρχονται στο φως επηρεάζουν σαφέστατα και τους ξένους επενδυτές, οι οποίοι καλοβλέπουν ή διερευνούν το αν πρέπει ή όχι να βάλουν τα χρήματά τους στη χώρα μας. Όλη αυτή η κατάσταση έχει επιφέρει και μια δύσκολη χρηματιστηριακή συγκυρία, μέσα στην οποία έχει δημιουργηθεί το τελευταίο διάστημα ένα χρηματιστηριακό προϊόν, ένα ETF στην Νέα Υόρκη, το οποίο ασχολείται και επενδύει και κινείται ανάλογα με την πορεία του Γενικού Δίκτυου στο Χρηματιστήριο της Αθήνας. Έχουμε τη χαρά και την τιμή να φιλοξενούμε σήμερα εδώ στο 24H TV τον κύριο Μπρούνο Ντελάμα, ο οποίος είναι διευθύνοντας σύμβουλος της Global X, του Fund Global X, που έχει συστήσει αυτό το ETF. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Delama.
Thank you for having me.
And my first question is, why did you choose the Greek stock exchange during this period?
Well, if you talk about the Greek stock exchange, the stock market, the story about Greece anywhere in the world, everybody's interested in Greece. Everybody has a story, everybody has an opinion. Obviously, it's in the news all the time. And certainly from our standpoint, we have seen a tremendous depreciation of the value of the Greek companies, down about 92% from its peak. And so you can think that there is significant opportunity in the Greek exchange at current valuations. We think that we may have reached the bottom, and so a lot of our institutional clients, retail clients, see an opportunity, and so we wanted to provide access to the opportunity to invest in the Greek stock exchange.
Mm-hmm. Aren't you afraid about all these rumors and analysis and all these things that are being said, if Greece should stay or should leave euro, and what is going on with Greek debt?
Well, if you think about the situation, it's obviously a very volatile situation. We see that in the volatility of the stock market. But having said that, a lot of those news are priced into the values on the stock exchange. And so we're not necessarily concerned about it. Obviously, we keep a close eye on it. But the valuations already reflect a very negative case scenario. To the extent that it's any better than that, we see significant upside on the value of the stocks. And so certainly we're concerned, we'll look at it, but we think that a lot of the bad news are already reflected in the values. The ETF is very new. It's ticker symbol GREK, listed on the New York Stock Exchange. It's 2 months old. And it essentially provides exposure to the benchmark index, the FTSE ATHEX 20 index, so the 20 largest, most liquid stocks listed on the Athens exchange.
Mm-hmm. And so you think that the valuations are now, the trend for evaluation is up for the evaluations in the Greek stock exchange, but if we see the bad scenario, and if things don't go well for Greece, do you think that in this scenario there are also opportunities?
Well, it depends on what you mean by a bad scenario. I mean, right now, over the last 2 months, the ETF has already gone up about 20%, still massively depressed valuations. Obviously, if the next hours and days in Greece are very important with regards to their financial history, we're really at a historic turning point potentially in Greece. So to the extent that the debt package, the debt deal is signed, that would be positive for the markets in the sense that it would provide some certainty as to what's happening in Greece. So if you're referring to the bad scenario, it's a situation where an agreement is not reached, where coming the debt payment in March, Greece defaults on the debt payment and the European Union leaders essentially force Greece out of the euro. If that's a negative scenario, well, there's also some positives that could come out of that scenario. Obviously, it's a very painful scenario. We think there will be some downside on the equity valuations given the uncertainty. But as soon as there's a plan put together as to how the country will move forward, even in that, if you want, negative scenario, we think that a lot of that is already priced in. If you talk to a lot of the institutional investors internationally, already believe that the probability of that scenario is actually very likely. So it's reflected in the marketplace, and we think that even if that were to happen, short term, yes, we think there'll be a lot of volatility, compression in prices. Long term, we still think there's opportunity at those valuations.
Mm-hmm. As I can understand, it's a distress ETF. Let me characterize it like this. It's the first ETF that you have issued and has to do with problematic country.
Well, our first product in the market was a Colombia ETF. We brought it to market in February of 2009. To be quite honest, that was close to the bottom of the market. It was a very, very difficult situation in the marketplace, and a lot of people thought that we were crazy. 2 years later, the ETF had gone up in value 200%. Obviously, a lot of people thought that was a brilliant move. I think it's possible that 2 years from now, the people may be saying the same thing about our Greece ETF.
What are your thoughts on the Greek case?
Well, it's, I don't envy the Greek politicians. I think they have a very difficult task ahead of them, both with regards to setting up a clear plan for the Greek economy, as well as with regards to the implementation, getting both the various political parties behind it and also the Greek population behind it. I think there's way too many people telling the Greeks what to do. I'm certainly not going to do that. I think the Greeks have great caliber, great capital. They have a very good understanding, better than anybody else, as to what their situation is. And so I think they have good people making good, rational decisions. And so, from my standpoint, all I can do is really encourage the Greek population and the Greek politicians that hopefully they show some leadership and they move the country in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And globally, which other investments would you suggest in what kind of sectors this period?
With regards to the global economy? Well, the global economy is also going through a little bit of a problem. To some extent, the bigger story on the global markets is the debt crisis, not only in Greece, but across Europe also, that creates a little bit of a systematic problem. So when you look at the global markets, maybe opportunities in the domestic consumer economy in certain emerging markets, that's where you're seeing the fastest growth. So for example, the consumer store in China, the consumer store in Brazil. And so those are areas that we're particularly bullish in, again, emerging markets, but the local domestic economy.
Thank you very much, Bruno, for being with us. Εμείς, κυρίες και κύριοι, θα είμαστε και πάλι εδώ μαζί καθημερινά στο 24 TV με θέμα τι άλλο, την οικονομία.